Are you ready for some bedtime stories? I'm Mrs. Ferris from Wood Library, and this is my friend Bernard, and we're ready. So let's get started with our first book. It's called, Bernard always likes to pick bear books. This is called Good as New. It's written by Barbara Douglas and illustrated by Patience Brewster, and is published by Mulberry Books. I thought my grandpa could fix anything. One morning last week, he fixed the hose and the fence and my swing and my sandbox and Yinli's fire engine and Carmen's wagon. But then my cousin KC came to visit while Uncle Jonathan went riding with his club. And KC started crying as soon as my uncle rode away. Nobody could make him happy, not even Grandpa, because the only thing KC wanted was my bear. And I said, nobody plays with my bear but me. Well, KC kicked the floor and he cried some more, and Mom said, Grady, do you think KC feels lonely because he didn't bring his bear? And then Dad said, do you think he might feel better, son, if you just let him hold your bear? Grandpa didn't say anything, and KC cried even harder until Yinli and Carmen grabbed their toys and they went home. Grandpa grabbed his hat and went for a walk, and before I could say, okay, you can hold him, KC grabbed my bear. But he didn't just hold him. He dragged my bear around by the ears. He fed him peanut butter, and he tried to feed him to the dog. Dad made him stop. Then KC dragged my bear outside where he sat on him, and he turned the hose on him. And then, Dad made him stop that. So KC buried my bear in the sand. And after KC went home, I dug up my bear, and Mom said, oh, please, don't bring it in the house. And Dad said, I'm sorry it's ruined, son, but I'll buy you a new one. Well, I said, I don't want a new bear. I want this old one fixed the way he was before KC came. Well, Mom shook her head, and Dad did too. But Grandpa, he hung up his hat and said, never you mind, Grady. I can fix that bear so he'll be as good as new in no time. And then he brought a big brown paper bag outside, and we sat down. But he opened up his pocket knife. And I said, wait a minute, Grandpa. Well, what's that for? Are you sure you can fix my bear? Of course I can, he said to me. Now hold on here and pull so I can see where to cut the stitches. So I held on and I pulled, but I didn't want to watch, because Grandpa opened up my bear and then he started pulling out the stuffing. My bear's stomach went flat, the way mine feels when I'm hungry. And then his arms and legs wrinkled up too. So I said, Grandpa, are you sure that this is the right way to fix my bear? But Grandpa just kept on working. My bear's nose dropped and his head flopped. And I covered up my eyes and said, Grandpa, are you sure? But he said, never you mind now, Grady. We'll have this bear as good as new in no time. Now in the kitchen, we made a sink full of suds, and Grandpa scrubbed my bear. First he scrubbed the stomach, then the arms and legs, and the neck, and the nose. He even scrubbed the ears. Well, the water got all muddy, but my bear didn't get very clean. Look, I said to Grandpa, I could still see peanut butter. So I pulled the plug and we made more suds, and Grandpa scrubbed again, but this time he scrubbed too hard. Both of the ears fell off, and I said, Grandpa, I'm not sure this is the right way to fix my bear. Never you mind now, Grady, said Grandpa. He'll be as good as new in no time. Well, Grandpa rinsed my bear and squeezed him hard. But when he shook him out, I told him, Grandpa, a clean bear is not so good if it's all flat and wrinkled and it hasn't got any ears. Never you mind now, Grandpa said. Then he hung my bear outside to dry with one ear on each side, and he said, I have to go downtown to buy new stuffing. Anybody want to come along? I did. So we rode the bus to the hobby shop, and while Grandpa bought the stuffing, I saved his place in the popcorn line. And by the time we got back home again, my bear and his ears were dry. But he was still all flat and broken. And I said, Grandpa, are you sure? I guess you know what Grandpa said. So we sat down outside again, and Grandpa filled my bear with new fluffy stuffing. He put about 100 hanks of stuffing in the arms, and about 100 hunks of stuffing in the legs. And he put about 100 hunks of stuffing in the head, and in the nose, and in the neck. But the stomach still looked hungry. So Grandpa kept on stuffing. And then I brought him a needle and thread and a thimble, and he sewed the back of my bear and said, there. But I said, wait a minute, Grandpa. He isn't dirty anymore. He isn't flat or wrinkled, but he still doesn't look so good without, can you guess? Without what? Said Grandpa. Is he missing something? He asked wide-eyed. He was teasing me. Never you mind, he said. I can fix that too. And he did. And then he said, there now. How does that look? Well, I turned my bear all around and carefully looked it over. Grandpa, I said at last, I thought you could fix anything, but this bear isn't as good as new. And there was a long silence, and Grandpa looked kind of sad. It's better than new, I shouted, laughing, and I gave him my best bear hug. And now, whenever KC comes to visit, well, Grandpa and I grab our hats, and I grab my bear, and we slip out the back door, never minding. That was a pretty special Grandpa, wasn't it? To fix that bear so it was as good as new. Well, there were 5 little teddy bears who were jumping on the bed. When one fell off, oh my, he bumped his head. So his mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more teddy bears jumping on the bed. So 4 little teddy bears were jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. So his mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more teddy bears jumping on the bed. So then 3 little teddy bears were jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. So his mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more teddy bears jumping on the bed. That means 2 little teddy bears were jumping on the bed. One fell off and he bumped his head. So his mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more teddy bears jumping on the bed. So that left 1 little teddy bear jumping on the bed. When she fell off, she bumped her head. So her mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more teddy bears jumping on the bed. But I think we could jump into our pile of books, and our next one is called The Loch Ness Monster. This is written by Helen Lester and illustrated by Lynn Munzinger, and it's published by Houghton, Mifflin, Harcourt. And it's autographed by Helen Lester. That makes it special. Now, this story takes place in Scotland. And there's some words that you might not know, so I thought I might go over them before we get into the story. Loch is Scottish for lake. And a wee laddie is a little boy. Skirps are drips. Puggy knit, well, puggy knit is a peanut. Hummy dooties, Hummy-dotties, I think is really how they say it. Those are mittens. And grotty? Oh, that's dirty. Kind of like that bear was. And tatties? Well, those are potatoes. And Helen coo is a Highland cow. And last but not least, peely-wally is when you're not feeling so well, when you're feeling sick. In faraway Scotland, across the ocean from us, there was a famous lake called Loch Ness. And legend had it that deep in this lake there lived a monster, although no one had ever seen it. But guess what? The legend was false. In truth, way, way down at the bottom of Loch Ness, there lived not one, no, but 3 monsters. There was Nessie and her husband Ferris and their wee laddie Angus. And from the time he was a baby, Angus's parents had taught him the 5 basic rules, the 5 basic monster rules. Number 5, never behave in a monstrous manner. Number 4, never eat with your thumbs. Number 3, always say excuse me when you cough or sneeze or burp. Number 2, always pick up after yourself. And the number 1 rule, never, ever, ever go up to the surface of the loch. So Angus was well behaved. He ate with a spoon and said excuse me when he coughed or sneezed or burped. Probably even when he coughed like this. Excuse me. But as he grew bigger, so did his messes. Now Mother Nessie skidded across the floor on Angus's slimy lochweed collection, and she crashed into Father Fergus. And Father Fergus tripped over Angus's fishy dolls and landed in the porridge. And Angus, why, he loved the action. His parents did not. Have you noticed that our laddie leaves skirps all over his dishes? They asked. And puggy-dit shells on the floor? And that his hummy-dotties are hopelessly mixed up? And that we're surrounded by grotty laundry? What happened to our tidy home? Well, Angus happened. And it was time to enforce basic rule number 2. Always pick up after yourself. So Angus's parents told him that while they loved him very much, until he cleaned up after himself, he would have to stay in his room so that his stuff would stop spreading. Meanwhile, they would deliver his daily meal of milk and tatties in a can. So off Angus went to his room. And in the days that followed, he didn't feel lonesome, for he had so much interesting stuff in his room. Every day he would play with his toys, tossing each one on the floor when he had finished. And before long, the floor was full. So Angus tossed his used items up on the bed. And a monstrously messy mountain began to grow. Books and toys and rock collection, slimy lochweed, ooh, fishy dolls and tatty cans, hummy-dotties too. Grotty laundry, puggy knits, spoon and skirpy cup, messy mountain moving higher up, up, up. It is quite a mess, don't you think? Now at night, it was, as was his habit, Angus would check to be sure there were no monsters under the bed, and then he would strap on his mountain gear and make the long climb to his lumpy sleeping perch. And each night, the climb took a little longer because each day he added books and toys, rock collection, slimy lochweed, ooh, fishy dolls and tatty cans, hummy-dotties too, grotty laundry, piggy knits, spoon and skirpy cup, Messy mountain moving higher, up and up and up. Now the only way to climb a long way up, well, that wasn't the only way. But on the night, some nights, Angus fell off of his bed, and it was a long way down. And then Angus started to miss his parents. He was uncomfortable on his lumpy bed and dreadfully hot as he neared the sun on the surface of the Loch. Lake. And the surface of the Loch? Angus had forgotten basic monster rule number 1. Never, ever, ever go up to the surface of the Loch. But here was Angus rising. Meanwhile, 3 friends had gathered on the shores of Loch Ness. There was a duck and a goat and a Highland coo. Remember, that's a Highland cow. And they looked out over the water as they did every morning for years, waiting patiently for the Loch Ness monster to appear. And at last, on this particular morning, they saw a wee ripple way out on the Loch. Could it possibly be? They focused their camera, binoculars, and telescope, and what they saw was Sloppy Angus, just awakening and rising on his bed, or what had once been his bed. "What a mess!" exclaimed the 3 observers, and the trio sadly shook their heads. "It's nae the Loch Ness monster, 'tis the Loch Mess monster for sure." Well, what did Angus see on the shore when he looked? Oh, what he saw made him feel absolutely peety-wally. Monstrous land monsters. The little one had enormous feet that could probably stomp you flat in a second. And the middle one had a hairy chin, fierce spears on its noggin, and big googly eyes. Those were the binoculars. And the big one, must have been 500 feet tall, with a long green snout. It made the most horrible sound. Moo, moo. Oh, time to move. Suddenly, Sloppy Angus wanted to clean up. He gathered up as much stuff in his arms, well, as much as they could hold, and he climbed down, down, down to the bottom of his mountain. "Let's see," he said. "Slimy lockweed on the shelf, pugging its shells in the laundry basket, books and toys in the garbage, grotty laundry in the fish tank." No, wait, that wasn't right. Slimy lockweed in the fish tank, grotty laundry in the basket, piggy knit shells in the garbage, and books and toys on the shelf. Now Angus remembered, and it was right. Then up he went for another load, up and down, load after load, until at last all of his stuff had found a place. Books and toys, rock collection, slimy lockweed, ooh, fishy dolls and tatty cans, hummy dotties too, grotty laundry, piggy nuts, spoon and scurpy cup. Messy mountain is no more. Angus cleaned it up. Angus was thrilled to see his parents, and he passed them. He called out, "I'm off to wash my dishes and recycle my tatties and cans." His mother and father were concerned. "Are you peely-wally, lad?" Remember, that means sick. But Angus was not peely-wally. He was just glad to be plain Angus instead of sloppy Angus. And that night he had a wondrous dinner with his parents, just wonderful, and land monster-free dreams on his smooth, cool bed. and the epilogue, or the after story. Angus didn't want his parents to think he was too perfect, so once in a while, he acted a little monstrous, and he left a very wee mess. Do you think he learned his lesson? I think he did. All right. Well, can you shake, shake, shake your sillies out? Shake, shake, shake your sillies out. Shake, shake, shake your sillies out and wiggle your waggles away. Now can you clap, clap, clap your crazies out? Clap, clap, clap your crazies out. Clap, clap, clap your crazies out and wiggle your waggles away. Can you stretch, stretch, stretch your stretchies out? Stretch, stretch, stretch your stretchies out. Stretch, stretch, stretch your stretchies out and wiggle your waggles away. Do you want to stand up? Because you can jump now. Can you jump, jump, jump your jiggles out? Jump, jump, jump your jiggles out. Jump, jump, jump your jiggles out and wiggle your waggles away. Can you yawn? Yawn your sleepies out, yawn. Yawn your sleepies out, yawn. Yawn your sleepies out and wiggle your waggles away. Can you shake, shake, shake your sillies out? Shake, shake, shake your sillies out. Shake, shake, shake your sillies out and wiggle your waggles away. Well, I think at the end of that story, his parents were so happy that he was being neater. They gave him lots of hugs and kisses because they hadn't seen him for a while. And did you know crocodiles love kisses too? Well, they need them, just like you. This is a book by Rebecca Colby, and it's illustrated by Penelope Delegan, and it's published by Viking. Despite their lumpy, bumpy hide, toothy mouths stretched open wide, just like me and just like you, crocodiles need kisses too. Regardless of their prickly spines, sharpened quills, and raised up in lines, just like me and just like you, porcupines need cuddles too. Although they have shaky tails and pointy fangs and slippery scales, just like me and just like you, rattlesnakes need squeezes too. Even with their wrinkly peaks, taloned feet, and hook-like beaks, just like me and just like you, vultures need some nuzzles too. Forget their ragged, jagged grins, turning, churning, circling fins. Just like me and just like you, great white sharks need smooches too. Ignore their hulky, bulky chests, beating, banging on their breasts. Just like me and just like you, gorillas need a few hugs too. Never mind their pouncing paws, raging roars, and scratching claws. Just like me and just like you, tigers need some snuggles too. Beyond their scary, hairy legs, 8 black eyes and sacks of eggs. Just like me and just like you, tarantulas need tickles too. Regardless of your smashing tail, your howling cry and yowling wail, what's true for them is true for you. Children need affection too. Despite our looks and what we do, we all need love. And I love you. Do you love any of those animals? Well, let's see. Which finger game shall we do? Is there anything in there? No. Maybe we could do something with a crocodile in it. I've got 5 little monkeys swinging in the tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile, you can't catch me. Well, along comes Mr. Crocodile, as hungry as can be, and he goes snap. So hide one of your monkeys. He didn't eat it. 4 little monkeys swinging in the tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile, you can't catch me. Along comes Mr. Crocodile, as hungry as can be, and he goes snap. 3 little monkeys swinging in the tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile, you can't catch me. Along comes Mr. Crocodile, as hungry as can be, and he goes snap. 2 little monkeys swinging in the tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile, you can't catch me. Along comes Mr. Crocodile, as hungry as can be, and he goes snap. 1 little monkey swinging in the tree, teasing Mr. Crocodile, you can't catch me. Along comes Mr. Crocodile, as hungry as can be, and he goes snap. So there are no little monkeys swinging in the tree. I'd better watch out so he won't catch me. All right, let's see how we're doing for time. I think we're going to have one more book. And this is called Nicky and the Big Bad Wolves. This is written and illustrated by Valeri Gorbachev, and it's published by North South Books. That's Nicky, and he's looking really scared. One windy night, Nicky woke up. "Help!" he cried. Well, Mother rushed right in. "What on earth is the matter?" she asked. "Wolves," said Nicky. "100 wolves were chasing me." 100 wolves? asked Mother. "Are you sure?" "Well," said Nicky, "maybe it was 50, but 50 wolves, why, they were racing after me, and I couldn't run away fast enough." 50 wolves? said Mother. "Are you sure?" "Well, maybe it was only 15 wolves, but they were a bloodthirsty bunch." 15 wolves seems like a lot, said Mother. "Are you sure?" "Well, maybe there were only 5, actually," admitted Nicky. "But they were right on top of me." "Well, it was just a bad dream, Nicky," said Mother. "And now it's time for you all to go back to sleep." So Mother tucked everyone in, turned out the light, and closed the door. "Did you hear that?" said Nathan. "It sounded like wolves," said Nora. "Hungry wolves," said Ned. "With huge fangs," said Nellie. "And they're right outside," said Nicky. "Help!" they all cried. "Now what's the matter?" said Mother. "100 wolves right outside our window, They're going to get us. All of you stay here, said Mother. I'll settle this wolf business once and for all. Take that, you wolves, and that. Get on, get out of here. Bang, crash, went the broom on the trash cans. There now, said Mother. Don't worry about those wolves. I chased them all away. Are you sure? Asked Nicky. I'm sure, said Mother. But if they come back, I've got my broom right here to chase them away again. So Nicky and his brothers and sisters all snuggled down and finally went to sleep, with Mother right in the middle. And I'm pretty sure no wolves came to bother them. Well, I'm pretty sure that it's time for us to get our bubble gum out. So reach in your pocket. If you don't have a real pocket, just pretend you do. Pull out your bubble gum, and if it has a wrapper on it, you could take that off and then pop it in your mouth and chew it up. I think my gum was pretty old. Takes a lot of chewing. But I think it's ready. Put your hand out. When I count to 3, spit your gum in your hand. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's disgusting. And clap your other hand on top. And we've got sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your chin. We certainly don't want to leave it there, so get it off. On stick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your back. On stick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your nose. On stick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your arm. On stick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your cheek. On stick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your knee. On stick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on Mom or Dad. On stick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum. It's time to throw it in the trash. Well, our next story is going to be on the flannel board, and I'm pretty sure you know this story, but it's still fun to share. Once upon a time, there was 1, 2, 3 little pigs, and they lived with their mother. But one day their mother said, "Oh dear, we have nothing here. It's time for the 3 of you to go out and be on your own." So the 3 little pigs set off to seek their fortune. No money, but just a lot of inspiration. Now the first little piggy went along and decided, well, he needed a house. And before he knew it, along came a man with a wagon load full of straw. And the little pig said, "Please, sir, may I have some of that straw so I can build myself a house?" And the man said, "Of course." So he left the straw, and the little pig built a fine house with it. And as soon as it was done, why, he moved right in. Let's get it up there, right? Stick him there. I want to have a peek out at us. We know he's inside, right? Because there he is. And there's his house with his roof made of straw. And he hadn't been in there very long when a who should come by but the big bad wolf. And he went, and he said, "Oh, I smell a little pig." And he shouted out, little pig, let me come in." And the little pig cried, "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." "Well, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said the wolf. And he huffed and he puffed and he blew down the house made of straw. But that little pig got away. Well, that little pig ran all the way until he got to the house, well, where his brother was going to be building a house. A man with a wagon load came by, and his load this time was sticks. And the little pig said, "Please, sir, may I have some of those sticks so I can build myself a house?" And the man said, "Certainly." So he left the sticks, and the little pig built a house for himself and his brother. Let's get that over just a little bit. Oh, it might not want to stay up there. Well, who should come along? Can you guess? The big bad wolf came along, and he said, little pigs, let me come in." And they cried, "No, no, no, not by the hair of our chinny chin chins." "Well, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said the wolf. That's what he said, and that's what he did. He huffed and he puffed and he blew until the house made of sticks fell down, and those two little pigs had to run for their lives. Well, they ran and they ran and they ran until they came to the house, well, that their brother was going to build, because he had met a man who just so happened to have a wagon load of bricks. And the little pig said, "Oh, please, sir, may I have some of those bricks so I can build myself a house?" And the man said, "Certainly." So he left the bricks, and the little pig, oh, he made himself a fine house, not only for himself, but for his brothers too. See if I can get this up here right. I never plan it just the right way for them. There we go. Well, the three little pigs loved their brick house, but it wasn't very long before who should come along but the big bad wolf. And he called out, little pigs, let me come in." And the little pigs cried, "No, no, no, not by the hair of our chinny chin chin." And the wolf said, "Well, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." That's what he said, and that's what he tried to do. He blew and he blew and he blew. But a house made of bricks is very strong, and he couldn't blow it down. But that wolf was determined to get inside. So he climbed up onto the roof. Now inside, those three pigs, well, they stood to the side. And down below the chimney was a fireplace. And they put a pot in the fireplace. It was full of water, and there was a fire underneath it, so that water was boiling hot. And the wolf, who was up on the roof, well, he thought he'd be so smart, he came down through the chimney. But when he came down through the chimney, he landed in the pot, and oh my goodness, he got boiled up. And the three little pigs, well, I don't want to say that they ate him, but I do want to say that those three little pigs lived happily ever after and were never bothered by any wolf ever again. Did you know that story? I was pretty sure you would. Well, let's finish up with our Sandra Boynton book. And this week we're reading Jungle Night. And this is published by Workman Publishing. Well, it's nighttime in the jungle and the moon will surely rise. All the animals are sleeping with whisperings and sighs. Listen to the tiger, see-hoo-ha. And listen to the cheetah, chee-chee-ta. Can you hear the crocodile? Snorkel-oo, snorkel-oo. And all the little monkeys who go chatter-choo, chatter-choo. We grunt, go the Red River hogs. Rop, ruppet, go the green jungle frogs. The dazzling bird makes a long, quiet coo. And the great big gorilla goes hee, hoo, hoo, hoo. But sometime after midnight, the elephant goes snore. And whoever had been sleeping isn't sleeping anymore. So those are our stories. Bernard, can you come back up and say bye-bye? And tell them we'll see them next week, right? We will.